Subscribe to this channel and like it, thank you. He had been sitting in that small street corner cafe since sunset, watching the door open and close 100 times, each time hoping it was her, the woman he had been talking to for weeks online, the one who made him laugh at midnight and believe that kindness still existed. The staff had already begun stacking chairs outside, and he kept checking his phone, replaying her last message, "I'll be there. Don't leave early." Hours passed, his coffee went cold, and still he waited, telling himself that people get late, that maybe she was stuck in traffic, maybe nervous, maybe shy. But inside, doubt swirled quietly. By midnight the streets had grown empty, wind scraping against the windows like impatient fingers. He rubbed his hands together, fighting the sting of cold that seeped through the windowpane. He knew he should leave, that no one would blame him if he walked away. But something kept him rooted, a strange mix of loyalty and hope. He imagined her sitting across from him, smiling nervously, brushing her hair back as she apologized for the delay she never meant to cause. He kept holding onto that image, telling himself that sometimes good things simply require patience. When the cafe finally closed, he stepped outside, tugging his jacket tighter. Snow had begun to fall softly, dusting the silent street in white. He stood near the entrance, reluctant to go home, feeling oddly responsible, as if leaving now meant giving up on someone who might still need him. The streetlights flickered, and a bus rolled past, splashing slush across the curb. He checked his phone once more, refreshing the chat again and again, waiting for a message that never appeared. As the hours stretched deeper into the night, he walked slowly along the sidewalk, letting the cold air clear the ache building inside him. He wasn't angry, only disappointed, not in her, but in himself for believing too easily. He stopped near a closed flower shop, staring at the bouquets behind the frosted glass. He had planned to buy one on his way home, if the date went well. Now they sat beyond reach like symbols of something he almost had, yet never touched. The wind grew sharper, carrying the sound of someone crying. At first he thought it was the echo of something in his own heart, but then he turned and saw a figure sitting on the snowy curb near the bus stop. A woman, hunched over, trembling. He hesitated, unsure if she wanted help, but something about her made him walk closer, perhaps the way her shoulders shook, or how she clutched a thin coat around herself as if the fabric alone could protect her. As he approached, he noticed a small child curled against her side, wrapped in a blanket far too thin for the freezing night. The woman lifted her head slightly, her eyes red as though she had spent the whole day trying to be strong and had finally run out of strength. She flinched when he stepped closer, as if expecting to be scolded or ignored like so many times before. He raised his hands gently, letting her know he meant no harm, only concern. "Are you okay?" he asked softly, kneeling a little to meet her gaze. She wiped her face quickly, embarrassed. "We're fine," she whispered, though her voice cracked with the weight of the lie. The child stirred, pressing closer to her for warmth. He looked around, there were no cars, no open shops, no people. Just the two of them lost in the winter night. Something inside him refused to walk away. "You're freezing," he said, removing his jacket without thinking and placing it around her shoulders. She tried to protest, but the moment the warmth touched her skin, she closed her eyes as if a burden had lifted. The child peeked at him shyly, half asleep, and he smiled gently, hoping to offer comfort even if only a little. "Why are you out here at this hour?" he asked. She hesitated, unsure whether to trust him. But maybe it was the sincerity in his voice, or the way he had waited for hours for someone who never showed. I had a room reservation," she finally said, "but they canceled it when my card declined. I didn't know where else to go." Her words trembled like the cold in her bones. She looked down, voice dropping even lower. "I told myself I wouldn't cry in front of my son tonight, but then the snow started, and I didn't know how to keep him warm." She bit her lip, guilt and fear swirling in her expression. He felt a tightening in his chest, an ache that came from recognizing someone trying desperately to hold on to dignity while life pushed them down again and again. He took a slow breath. "Come with me," he said quietly. Not in a demanding way, but in a tone gentle enough for her to refuse safely if she wanted. She blinked, startled. "I don't know you," she whispered. He nodded, understanding completely. "You don't have to trust me yet. But I can help. There's a diner open all night. It's warm. Let's start there." For him, he nodded towards the sleeping child. The woman hesitated, torn between fear and necessity. Her son let out a soft whimper, and that decided it. She rose slowly, clutching him to her chest. He walked beside her, keeping a respectful distance, making sure she never felt pressured. Snow crunched under their feet as they headed toward the glowing neon sign of the diner at the end of the street, its windows fogged with warmth and life. Inside, he ordered the warmest meals on the menu, soup, tea, pancakes, and watched as the child slowly came back to life, cheeks pinking as he took his first sip of hot chocolate. The woman wrapped her hands around her cup, eyes glistening not from sorrow now, but relief. "Why are you being so kind?" she asked softly. He looked down at the untouched coffee in front of him, thinking of the hours he had spent waiting. "Because I know what it feels like to hope someone will show up," he said quietly. "And I don't want you to feel like no one ever will." She covered her mouth, tears spilling again, only this time, they were different. Not despair, not loneliness, something gentler, something healing. As the child leaned against her, she murmured, "Thank you. I don't know how to repay you." He shook his head, smiling softly. "You already did. You showed up." By dawn the storm had calmed, and the world outside shimmered with untouched snow. He walked them to a shelter he knew was safe, promising to check on them later. Before he could leave, she touched his hand, her grip delicate yet full of unspoken gratitude. "You were waiting for someone last night," she said quietly. Maybe you were meant to find us instead." And as he walked away, for the first time all night, he felt that maybe she was right.